Hello everyone, I am Vijay, CSC undergrad. Today I am going to explain you about dynamic binding in Java. So what does dynamic binding really mean? So dynamic binding means it is the determination of which method to call is made at runtime rather than at compile time. So that is dynamic binding. Dynamic binding is also known as late binding or runtime binding. So dynamic binding plays crucial role in achieving the runtime polymorphism. If you want to achieve the runtime polymorphism, dynamic binding should be there. So understanding the dynamic binding. In Java, when a method is invoked on an object, the JVM determines which implementation of method to call based on the actual type of the object at runtime. This is in constant contrast to static binding, where the method to be called is determined based on the declared type of reference variable at compile time. So dynamic binding means the name itself it is there that dynamic. It means at the runtime it is decided that which method to be called is determined at the time of running the code. So dynamic binding occurs for methods that are overridden in subclass objects. When a method is overridden in a subclass, the method in the subclass overrides the implementation of the method in superclass. During runtime, when the method is invoked on an object of the subclass, the JVM determines which version of the method to execute based on the actual type of object. So dynamic binding occurs for methods which are inherited from parent class. If a method is there in parent class as well as in subclass, so when we call the when we create the object for subclass and call the method, which method will be called that will be determined in the runtime. So this is dynamic binding. So to achieve the runtime polymorphism, we use dynamic binding. Role of dynamic binding in achieving runtime polymorphism. Polymorphism is a fundamental concept in object-oriented programming, refers to the ability of object to take on multiple forms. So, how this polymorphism uh, applicable to the code? So, for example, a method name a method is declared in subclass and superclass. The method name is same and functionality is same, but which method? But the Mm, For example, both the methods names are same, but based on the calling of the methods, they behave different. So this is how the polymorphism works. Polymorphism there in our Java programming. So you might be confused. Let us go through the example so that you can understand the concept in depth. So this is the program. So in this program, we have defined a class named animal and also two classes dog and cat. These two classes the extend the or inherit the animal class. So in these three classes there is a common method called make sound. This method is name is same. This method there in both three classes. So this is an annotation. This is not mandatory. If we if we write or we don't write, uh, it is not mandatory. Next, here we created the object for dog class of type animal, and we created the object for cat class, and we call it the methods. based on the objects. Let us run the code. See, here we got the output like dog barks. We created the object for dog class, but that reference type is but the type is animal. For both, the type is animal, but object created is for dog class and cat class. So when we call the make sound method with the reference of animal with the reference of dog class, we go this function is executed, but this function is ignored. This is what runtime polymorphism means. It means always the subclass method will be executed. The parent class method will be overridden by the subclasses. So in this example, we have make sound in animal and dog class. Which method to be implemented, that will be determined in the runtime. So that is dynamic binding. I hope you got some clarity. Thank you.